development. So for me, working with professionals who are looking to make career transitions, don't know where to start, or to work with people who are talented, but they don't know how to express their talent or how to come across better in interviews or reflect the same in their CVs. Or when I'm working with expats, I mean, I have lived in as expat in more than two countries. So I understand that confusion that you get when you arrive in a new country. Sometimes you don't speak the language, you don't know the people, you don't know the culture. So just in a nutshell, trying to get them out of that problem focused mindset to a solution focused mindset. For me, I believe it's more of that satisfaction. It's more of that rewarding result, let's say, for me as a coach. It's never, for coaches, I think it's rarely about money or revenue. At the end of the day, you reaching your goal as a coach.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Rajan, and today's guest is Ashna Sirin, a certified career and expat coach, people and culture enthusiast, and the founder of 1111 Coaching, where she helps individuals find true alignment in their lives and careers. With a background in HR and a passion for guiding people through new careers, new countries, and new beginnings, Ashna blends practical expertise with deep empathy. She is an ICF certified professional coach supporting global talent in becoming job ready and visible to the top employers. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Ashna.
Thank you, Rajan. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, Ashna. It's a pleasure for us to have you on. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about your coaching business. So it's been around almost 5 years now with 1111 Coaching. I wanted to ask you at the beginning of it, what inspired you to become a coach and then start 1111 Coaching?
Yeah, so I think it was not a single moment. It was more like a series of clues that were popping up over a period of time. And as I have my background in HR, when I was working in HR, people would not only come to me for advice or answers, but they would come to me for, and after that time coaching them, they would leave with comments like, oh, I now have a different perspective, or I feel so much lighter, or it's so much clearer now. And so at one time I was like, wait, like this is not a coincidence. It might be my calling. And when I was working in HR, we were dealing with post-COVID era. People were losing jobs, organizations were struggling, and there was a lot of pressure. So it occurred to me that this ecosystem needs some balance, right? So I mean, the companies are struggling, the organizations, the people are struggling. So someone's got to do something. And so I decided to build on my superpower of coaching and decided to create an impact. And for me, coaching is more like providing space where, people don't feel forced to make anyone happy, or they don't wear masks. So providing a comfortable, safe space. And so that's how I decided to build a brand called 1111 Coaching, where 1111 has long been a universal symbol of divine alignment, and it's an indication of whether you're on the right path and whether you're making the right choices. And so I did see this number a lot, right? So I was attracting maybe that kind of energy. And so I wanted my client to feel the same, to have this satisfaction of feeling that they were on the right path, that I was guiding them with coaching to where they wanted to be. And so I would say that clues and the series brought me more to, let's say, professional coaching. And I realized that I have been coaching pretty much most of my career. So I just wanted to build on that.
Beautiful. And I was just going to ask you for 1111. Thank you for explaining that. So right now, when working with your clients and going through the coaching journey with them, what about it do you find most rewarding?
So the most rewarding for me as a coach is when individuals come to me, and we see those images online most of the time. It's like they come with this gray cloud of all these thoughts, and they're using really long sentences, or when in themselves feels that they're overwhelmed with their own thoughts, right? And so when I repeat to them, when I resonate with them, when I reflect them, pretty much most of the time, like just, throwing words at mindset. And when I just guide them to where they want to be and what they want, I think for a coach, I think that's really satisfying. It doesn't mean that they have to reach their goal. It doesn't mean that they will excel at what they want to do. It just means to like stream out the trash and stream out where they want to be, right? So clear out that cloud of grayness and bring some light to them. So for me, working with professionals who are looking to make career transitions, don't know where to start, or to work with people who are talented but they don't know how to express their talent or how to come across better in interviews or reflect the same in their CVs, or when I'm working with expats. I mean, I have lived in as expat in more than 2 countries, so I understand that confusion that you get when you arrive in a new country. Sometimes you don't speak the language, you don't know the people, you don't know the culture. So just in a nutshell, trying to get them out of that problem focused mindset to a solution focused mindset. For me, I believe it's more of that satisfaction, it's more of that rewarding result. Let's say for me as a coach, it's never for coaches, I think it's rarely about money or revenue. At the end of the day, you reaching your goal as a coach.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I'm not a coach by any means. I just like interview so many coaches that I've gotten the same feedback from so many coaches. I totally agree with you. And now, when thinking about the clients that you work with, is there some sort of an ideal client profile that you typically like to work with? Do they fit some sort of demographic, psychographic? Do they have some common goals or other commonalities?
Yeah, so for demographics, I say that I mostly resonate and people, my clients mostly resonate with me when they're around maybe young professionals to middle managers. I do coach leaders as well and managers to become better mentors and leaders, but we have more emerging talent than leaders needing better leadership skills. Let's say, put it in that way. So we have more of like junior level specialists and middle level specialists rather the need for coaching a lot of managers and leaders. And I specialize in people that are again looking to enter the workforce. So emerging, I like to call them emerging talent rather than like new graduates or young professionals. I also coach people here where it comes around middle managers or supervisors or specialists where they want to make career transition. I just had a client today who spent all his life working in logistics and now he wants to do cloud computing, which is like a huge other area, right? And so I think I resonate better with people who want to transition from their career. I work with people who have transitions to different countries. So then it comes to expats, women or men alike. I love working with women too because I mean they have so many responsibilities. They have to get married, they have to move with their spouses to other countries sometimes. They have kids and they want to retransition into, they want to come back to the workforce. And sometimes they have so many ideas even about their business or a startup or a venture. So I would say all in all, I work mostly with emerging talent, with people who want to make career transitions, with people who are talented but they don't know how to brand themselves, so also specialize in personal branding. So I help them with branding themselves. I give them an HR perspective as to what we are looking in interviews, what are we looking at in CVs, how do we want their LinkedIn to look like, their appearance to look like, the way they talk. So all the little and bigger details, I think that I am more comfortable to provide that perspective. And from so far, I've seen that the client profiles I have are mainly made up of these demographics and people with similar goals.
And when thinking about how you work with them, is there a certain program length that they work in with you? Is it one-on-one coaching or is there also group coaching? How is the engagement you have with them for those who are listening?
Yeah, so for coaching and for career coaching or expat coaching, I believe a tailored approach is the best, a personalized approach, because we, as coaches, you have to ask the right questions. You need to provide them with the right visualization, maybe. So, not every question is going to resonate with everyone, or not every goal is, yeah, everyone wants to find work, but there are different questions. What motivates them? Why are they looking for work? What do they look for in an organization? Are they changing fields? Are they changing countries? Because people have different motivations, I personally feel that a bi weekly individually. One-on-one is always better. Yeah, sure, there are 3-month program or 6 months program. Organizations or on projects, I even work with the same individual for a year long. So it's short-term or long-term commitment depending on the goal. I do not merge myself a lot into group coaching. As I mentioned, I'm more into a tailored approach. But what I do is workshop and I do some speaking at events to give a general view on, for example, CV review or how your CVs should be or what they should have, or maybe interview preps on soft skills or career development to think about where the world is going, where the economy is going, what talent is needed there urgently in the market. So I would say that I'm more of a tailored one-on-one, and some speaking and some workshop is what I mostly go for.
Cool. And right now, marketing wise, do you find that there's a certain marketing channel that is working really well for you to find new people or for people to find you?
Well, I work with organizations also that are partnering with organizations. So I get a stream of clients working on different projects. I love social media. So I'm always on the social media on LinkedIn. I would say on Instagram, I would say connect with the right audience. I would say that because I have HR background and I absolutely loved headhunting, as we call it in HR, I am most of the times like on an active lookout for a clientele. So it could be someone on Facebook even. I don't say that I use Facebook for marketing, but I use Facebook for headhunt, right? Because people can express their opinions rather than just pictures, for example, in Instagram or on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great platform. Like almost half of the people are looking for work, right? So you have to be actively searching for clientele. So there are people who are looking for open to work, right? They're looking for work, they're sharing their CVs, or on Facebook, sometimes people are asking for advice on career transitions, or they're asking for remote work, or they're asking for work in general, right? So, I mean, I would, in a nutshell, I would say, and of course, for coaches, they're always referral as well. So, because I work with emerging talent and women and middle managers, I do get a lot of referrals as well, also from the organization that I work. So, that's always there. But I would say, like, headhunting is also a lot of fun, and social media and then partnership with different organizations is where I usually get my clientele from.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And it's been the case actually with a few coaches that I've interviewed. And last year we didn't have the podcast, but I was still doing Zoom calls for our research we did last year. And there were many coaches who were working with organizations as contractors. And that would be a very good way if you didn't want to do marketing and sales yourself, but you would basically be serving clients directly. And then you also have some individual clients that are coming to you directly, right?
Yeah, because when you're working as partners, as you mentioned, with as contractors, you're saving time and you're doing a much better job, because then you don't have to deal with the administrative processes, you don't have to deal with the marketing, as you mentioned, you don't have to deal with the process after. So a lot of administrative processes are gone, and then you're basically just doing what you love to do, which is to coach people. Then, and mostly because they work in projects in Middle East region before, and now I'm actively working the European region. So it makes it simpler, let's say, to
Yeah.
work with organizations. But I mean, it's always better to have more stream of clients. It's always better to have more streams of investment, as we say, right? So don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's always better to get clients from different sources and not just rely on one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making sure that you have a consistent flow of clients and not maybe just from one channel, even though you can scale with one channel, but as long as it's consistent, yeah, not relying on only one channel would be a good strategy. So, right now, in the future, for the next 1 to 3 years, do you have any specific goals for your coaching business? Are you thinking of like continuing with the contracts and also like growing on the side, or do you feel like maybe you could also go 100% in with individuals that you get on yourself?
Yeah, so yes, there are always goals. It's always better to have short term and long term goals. Yes, I am working at the moment, but with my coaching practice, I'm looking to expand 1111 coaching, and I'm looking it to expand to organizations and companies privately. I mean, one on one. And I'm looking for organizations which not only look at coaching for their workforce as a perk, as an added benefit, but more as a necessity, more as a strategic investment, let's say, in their talent. Because as I mentioned, now we're dealing with different generations. We're no longer dealing with baby boomers or millennials. Now we're with X, Y, Z generation, and their motivations are different, and they don't work like I do. Let's say you're still younger, but they don't think the same as I do, right? So I'm looking for organizations who want to take this step of thinking of it as, like an investment to their workforce, to to their team so that they can build leaders out of it, so they can retain their talent, so they can offer and understand better what are these employees looking for really. Is it really money that motivates them, or is it the work-life balance? Because I mean, the boundaries are blurring. People are working
Hmm.
two jobs, people are working remotely, they're at home working pretty much like 20 hours. So I think it's very important for coaching come in, because I do know some organizations introduced like therapy, right? So therapy as a service or therapy as a benefit to their employees. But I also know the feedback from the employee side, because I mean, would you talk to a therapist which is sponsored by your workplace? Like
Hmm.
probably not, right? So that's
Yeah.
where coaching is more comfortable, because then they know explicitly that this is for work purposes, it's not therapy for my personal problems. And so I think that is the area where I want to create awareness in organizations, and I want to be able to partner with companies who think in this way. And I'm already investing in thought leadership as well. So as I mentioned that, people don't have work life balance, or they're working from their home, or they're commuting or whatever. So there's also a need for your content, so blogs, speaking, writing, or a handbook or a videos even, where people can get like instant advice,
Hmm.
like instant quick coaching, right? So a lot of people don't have time to sit one on one, and with the new generation, with the TikTok generation, we don't have time to make them sit like for 1 hour bi-weekly, talk about their career goals. So I think it's important for me to also hand on that area about thought leadership, about quick coaching. Yeah, and the longer future, I would love to have a diverse team with me of professionals who think alike, multicultural professionals. We absolutely believe in diversity and inclusion and multicultural thinking. So that's a long-term plan, to maybe build a team of
Hmm.
professionals working for the same goal.
And you're thinking about it the right way too, is like not like scaling, but gradually in a way where your business is focusing on these companies initially that might need that coaching. And so right now, throughout these 5 years of running your coaching business, what would you say have been some investments that you've done that you feel really good about? So good investments, either you got good return from or you learned a lot from. And what would you say are some bad investments, if there's been any of those as well?
Yeah, so it's at the moment like I have a small team, but it's more of a standalone project at the moment. So I would say for me, a personal investment with a great professional ROI would be immersing myself in experiences, which is so underrated. Like we spend so much on certificates, or which we have to need to know the tools and to get the right training. But for me, experiences as in traveling, for example, has been like absolutely healing holistically, let's say, or has nourished holistically,
Hmm.
because when I expand my horizon, when I go to different countries all over the globe and I interact with different cultures, I look around what their workforce is doing. So there are, for example, some countries are working 35 hours a week, some countries are working 45 hours a week. How does it
Hmm.
impact their culture? How does it impact what they're eating, what they're doing with their families, how they're spending their money, which is more of economics and business. But then talking to different people and what are their motivations and what they're looking for has been absolutely amazing. So you have to step outside your house, I would say. You have to step
Hmm.
outside your comfort zone. You have to find yourself with different people. And talking to these people, I've learned so much, which, as I mentioned, has handed my perspective. So I do that same with my coaching, because I'm talking with different cultures. I'm talking with expats. I'm talking with people of different ages, of different
Hmm.
motivations, in different countries, speaking different languages. So it provides me with this strength where I can relate better with them, right? So I think experiences has been very nourishing for me. I also find myself working more and more with the social responsibility project. And it's more of like, where I first started to help the ecosystem, to help create the balance. I think it gives you a lot of empathy. It gives you a lot of resilience. It helps you understand what is resilience. What are people
Hmm.
doing out there to survive, right? And you want to take
Yeah.
them out of that survival mode and help them to thrive, right? Help them to be more successful, not just reading or sleeping or doing their 9 to 5 job they don't dream of anymore. So creating these, yeah, as much as coaching skills and as much as certifications and trainings is very important, and you need to have the tools and the framework. Also super important, I think, to have empathy to you, to understand other people, to ask the right questions, to understand, for example, in different cultures, the facial expressions even mean something else. right? Or their body language means something else. So when you experience working with different communities and working with different cultures, you understand better. So, and regarding like, I wouldn't say bad investment, but I would say something with a much less ROI that I was expecting. That when I first started out, I had this understanding that I have to join these membership clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of membership clubs around us now which promote featuring your business, talking about your business, marketing events, networking opportunities, and posh hotels, right? With a brunch or with all
Mm-hmm.
that fancy luxury stuff, right? And I thought that I had to be part of that circle. And for some membership clubs actually pay, right, to enter that circle. Once I was in, I was like, okay, I'm talking about my business, but everyone's talking about their business. And it's all about this glitz and glam. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
networking events and the brunches and everything. But at the end of the day, like after some time, I understood that these people are not my target audience. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't need coaching. Like everyone's talking about their business and everyone's, just having coffee with at brunch. And it's all
Mm-hmm.
about glitz and glam. It really doesn't translate into you becoming a better coach. It just distracts you. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say to choose carefully what organizations are you becoming part of, what membership clubs are you becoming part of, and to understand if it's just, a gimmick or is it about like doing something for you.
Yeah, and you can spend money easily in these conferences. If they're not the right
Absolutely.
fit, you end up spending a lot of money and not getting anything in return, not even
Yeah.
connections at that point. And so it makes a lot of sense. So right now, with your coaching business and how things are, what would you say is a challenge for you right now? Where would you say is the bottleneck? Your goal is to kind of like expand into these companies and think about that goal as well. Where would you say the challenge is right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're still not stable globally as far as the economy is concerned, right? Motivations for organizations and individuals alike are changing. Previously, it was all about handing, and companies would boast, like, oh, I have thousands of employees all over the globe. Now they want like one person to do a job of five people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the challenges here would be the lack of awareness of coaching. As I mentioned, organizations do not understand the need and they do not want to invest, which is because of the economic conditions, which I understand. But then, as I mentioned, that we're dealing with different generations. We're dealing with gig economy, where one person doesn't want to be involved with one organization and they're working with a lot of organizations at the same time. So how do you retain or how do you, compete with the other organization, right? I think the lack of awareness of coaching as a necessity, as essential for today's workforce, which comes with the lack of budget for organizations, where the first department to be canceled is the HR, right? Because they think like, oh, we can hire people, right? The CEOs and the startups mostly, they're like, we can do the hiring, right? And we're anyway not hiring. So we're just, cutting everything. We're doing the
Mm-hmm.
layoffs, for example. So we can do that. So, I mean, I think they think the same for coaches and for coaching. So I think that needs to be worked on along with personally for coaches themselves. I think it's really working with different generations is so crucial to understand because as I told you, like they don't have time to sit one on one with, or they get bored so easily, like they want quick, 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 right? So we have
Mm-hmm.
to come up with coaches as something which is, I mean, we have to adapt to that, right? So as much as we're being taught to understand and to crack that shell and then need bi-weekly like the sessions and everything, we need to keep up with what is the need, ways to attract, what are the motivations, right? And to come up with like quick coaching or to come up with this emerging talent, which I feel is happening. I work a lot with emerging talent and I think they personally understand that they have the talent and they have a CV and their job, but I'm not getting accepted, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that awareness is coming up. But yeah, I think those are one of the biggest challenges because there's social media. Yeah, you're using TikTok, Instagram, everything, but then you have to adapt. So I think that we are in a situation where we have to adapt very quickly and we cannot consider the traditional old school coaching methods and to go with
Mm-hmm.
the same framework in the very near future. Maybe it's working today for some people, but in the very
Yeah.
near future, we would need to improvise.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And so when thinking about growth for your coaching business, there's a lot of coaches that are driven by making an impact and making a change in people's life through coaching, be that either career coaching or life coaching. It's always always impactful to see that change. For coaches who want to scale that change, do you have any advice you'd like to give to them? And this would be like the final question for today.
Yeah, for scaling, I would say as we reflect to our client, right? Creating an impact is not overnight. It's not about like forced transformations or it's not quick success, right? So when you're talking about scaling or when you're talking about creating an impact as a coach, you have to be patient, you have to be adaptive. As I said, you have to make it about the other person. So the moment you make it about your success, you make it about your ego, your business, your marketing, you lose it, right? Because as coaches, as much as we want to make revenue, you also mentioned impact, right? So if you want to make revenue with impact, it's going to be very conscious. It has to be very carefully curated as to not make, because I think it's easy for coaches to want to excel, right? And how do coaches excel? Like the KPIs we for ourselves. All the clients reach their goals. Everyone's happy. I did 3 month program with this person. He got the job he wanted. We have to understand progress and impact is not a straight line. It's a curvy road. It's a zigzag. If you coach 100 people, 50 of them will be closer to their goal. 50 of them would have reached it. There will still be like 30 people or 40 people which are not there yet. So as I mentioned, create an impact. Scaling your business has to come up with you being a better coach. Because if you are authentic, if you are genuine, if you really give importance to your client, and if you provide them the space to grow themselves and to be comfortable and to explain themselves or to open their shell to you, you have to make it all about them. So at the end of the day, I think it's all about the other person as a coach. It's all about creating an impact which is going to be conscious and which is going to take its time and its own path. Yeah, I think that would be the best advice. Do not make it about yourself. Make it about your client.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashna. Thank you so much for coming to our podcast today. And for anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Ashna Sirin. They'll be able to find your profile.
Yeah.
I believe that they should also be able to find you. Is there any other way they can connect with you?
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, they can search for Ashna Sirin. And I do have a website live now, which is coaching 1111. So coaching1111.com. They can go in there and they can get more details about me. The other social media, I'm also live on Instagram. So I think LinkedIn, mail, Instagram, and website would be the best way to reach out to me. Yeah.
Thank you. And we'll put the website also in the description so people can find it easily. But thank you so much, Ashna. It was lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you, Rajan. It was a pleasure to talk about what we love to do as coaches. So thank you once again for giving this opportunity to have a chat about.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.